Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Ashitaka Recommends. I know what you're probably thinking. I've already done a review of the Wii U, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and do another one to give it a better review so that you can actually see some of the graphics, some of the things that Nintendo has really done and excelled at in this episode. I'm able to do that because I now have a video capture device for my computer, so I'm able to actually capture this in full 1080p, up to 60 frames per second if I so desire, which is going to allow me to later on show you games that need a little bit of polish before, that really shouldn't have been released because of the fact that they're not polished enough. Fortunately, those don't come from Nintendo, but everybody's pretty familiar with Nintendo's level of quality. They simply don't release things that are not ready for prime time. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. Right now, we're actually showing the Miiverse, which is pretty much Facebook for your games. Which is very, very handy. It does a lot of cool things. It breaks everything down by game when you go into the app. It is fully accessible from within your game. You don't have to exit the game to go into the Miiverse and play around. You can simply hit the home button on the Wii U, and you can access this as well as the web browser, which I'll attempt to show you later on in the video. Unfortunately, I ran into a little bit of an issue, but that's not going to affect my position on whether I like the Wii U or not. As you can see here, you can see a bunch of little drawings on the screen, various people's posts. A lot of people like to use the drawing feature because you can draw and post into the Miiverse, which is just actually really cool. I don't think I've actually typed anything into it because I thought it was a blast just drawing it. So, first thing I'm going to show you game-wise is Nintendo Land. You will notice that it does take a little bit of time to load. And I brought that up in my original review, and I think it's probably worth bringing up in this review as well, mostly because of the fact that some people might find that to be a deal breaker. Not me. I personally, the only time I've ever really witnessed the long load times is that initial load time that you saw here. Once you're actually in the game, it's really easy to just get into it and start playing. As you can see here, we're running around Nintendo Land. You start out in this little theme park type environment. You have various unlockables. You can see here the little question mark boxes that are bouncing all around my world. Those are actually things that I've unlocked, and if I go up to those, I can poke them on the display, and they'll pop into some kind of a surprise. I believe I just did that there, where you'll see the Yoshi pop up. I can't really see the screen because I'm blind, so I'm going to continue running around. In a couple of minutes, or a few seconds probably, you'll see me go ahead and load up a game and show you some of the one of the cooler games that, even though I'm sure you've seen it 100,000 times, it's still a blast, and it's worth noting that it's a lot of fun in spite of the fact that it looks like it's something stupid. As you can see with this game, like I said, Nintendo games are very, very polished. You'll notice that the frame rate never drops in this. Menus are easy to access, and if you don't want to run around and run into the gate that you choose, you can use that menu that you just saw come up and choose your game from there without having to bother with running around. To me, running around is half the fun, but in the interest of time, I went ahead and skipped that. This game uses the Wii U gamepad and its display as a shuriken You actually hold it flat vertically in your hand, and you just fling your shurikens at the little ninjas, which are kind of reminiscent of Little Big Planet as far as their graphics. I think that Nintendo really pulled it off as well, if not better, than Sony did with Little Big Planet. But I think that actually comes down to the Wii U's better hardware as far as like what it's capable of. Graphically, it is probably about 3 times as powerful as a PS3 or an Xbox. A lot of people may not believe that, and a lot of developers are complaining that it's got a slow CPU, and maybe that's true, but it might not be that it's slow, it might be that it's different, because it's running a PowerPC architecture, which is very different from, or sorry, it's actually IBM Power 7 architecture that it's running. It's very different from the x86 architecture that most other platforms are using, very different from a PC, but it is a fairly capable CPU, and I believe one of the developers over at Tecmo from Team Ninja actually said that the Wii U is a pretty powerful system, and it's not next gen because of the graphics, but it's next gen because of its innovation. I totally agree with that sentiment. The gamepad is an absolute blast to use. Let's see, I believe right now I'm going to be showing you the in-game system where you can go ahead and pull up the web browser and that. Again, this is totally seamless. It doesn't appear as though it is in the video. That's mostly because I was not aware that it does not display the actual web browser on the television screen, and it's only on the gamepad, which is more than enough when you're just checking your email real quick before you go back into a game. So I won't ding them for that, because when you use the web browser by itself, it actually does work just fine, and you can just switch the display so that you can have it on the main screen. If you've got something you want to show mom and dad or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, you can do that when you use the web browser outside of a game. As you can see, we've gotten back into the game. It went right back in. I did run into a little bit of a calibration issue. Fortunately, Nintendo made it extremely easy to recalibrate it. You just tilt the control pad up and then tilt it back down, and it recalibrates itself very quickly. You'll notice that I really kind of suck at this game. Part of it's because of the lack of calibration there, but that's my own fault. So can't fault Nintendo for that one too much. Let's see. Now we're going to exit the game. You're going to see that there is a bit of a load time going from the game to the system menu, which is kind of unfortunate because it's almost as long as the game load times themselves, it's very strange. I would imagine Nintendo's going to be able to release some patches to speed up some of the load times in the future, but well, that remains to be seen. So here we are back at the home screen, and I'm going to go ahead and load the web browser so I can show you just exactly how quick this web browser is. It's actually very fast. It's based on Opera's technology. Generally speaking, I'm not a fan of Opera, but it works really well on mobile and non-PC platforms. And in this case, it works extremely well. You can see that when I'm looking at the gamepad, it shows my knee waving at you and doing its little thing. This is one of my favorite websites. It loaded very, very quickly. You can see that scrolling is very smooth. Clicking around is pretty smooth. It works really well with the Wii U gamepad. And now we're going to go ahead and load Yahoo. I know it's not the most feature-intensive website, but it'll give you an idea of just how quickly the web pages load on a decent internet connection. You see it's already done loading. Very quick. Ready to go. So it would make a great daily web browser for checking email or whatever. Next up is the Nintendo eShop. I know a lot of people are probably really interested in this one because the Wii U's eShop kind of sucked. I can definitely assure you that this one is much, much, much better than the Wii U, or the original Wii, sorry. It seems much more modern, more like something you would see on a high-quality web store. They've got full Wii U games, including retail titles, as you saw over there. There was Zombie U and even New Super Mario Bros. U. Both of those were launch titles with the system. They're already available for purchase on the Nintendo eShop. It's not the fastest store I've ever used, but it does work really well. It provides video previews of various titles. I'm going to show you a video preview very quickly of, I forget which one it is, but I'm showing you a video on the Nintendo Store, which actually does load fairly quickly. I know that on my PlayStation, I can't stream video on that thing unless it's Netflix, because the PlayStation Store is so freaking slow. It's amazingly slow. But the Nintendo eShop does it without a hitch. And in HD, no less, which is pretty, which is not, you know, it's no small feat. Oh, the only other system I've seen do that and do it well, unfortunately, is the Xbox. But I still refuse to pay for Xbox Live, so you're not going to see me doing any online reviews of that for that reason. But I'm going to have to give the Nintendo eShop a thumbs up. It's much improved over the original Wii. I put it about on par with the 3DS, and thumbs up. So now I know you guys are excited. Now we're getting to the games. Nintendo Land I used earlier, so we're not going to go over that. The first thing I'm going to show you is New Super Mario Bros. U. And I know a lot of you are thinking that this game doesn't look a whole lot different than the original, and you're right, it doesn't. The only difference is that it's high definition. And high definition Mario is wonderful. It runs at a silky smooth 60 frames per second, as you would expect from a Nintendo game. And it is one of the hardest New Super Mario Bros. Games I've ever played. I've very much enjoyed what I have played of it. I've been so busy lately I haven't had a chance to finish it, so I can't really vouch for the ending, but it is very good. You'll see I'm going up here into one of the ice levels to kind of show off what's going on. And you can watch me play that while I explain some of the other features. You can have up to 5 people playing this game. 4 people using Wiimotes, and 1 person using the gamepad. Now the person using the gamepad does not actually control a character on the screen, so it doesn't get all frantic, or doesn't get more frantic than it did with the original Wii, because that person, all they do is control the boost rush mode, where you can put little tiles on the screen for people to jump on. You can help them out, you can make it easier for them to get that extra life at the end of the level, or what have you, and it just works very, very well. So as you can see, I'm not really all that great at this, but again, it is a lot harder than the previous titles. I do recommend that you have this in your game library, because it's very much worth it. As you can see, I died. Now you got the Miiverse stuff popping up, and that's one of the things that's really cool. You can see where other people have been frustrated with the same level, and especially if you died at a similar point, it'll actually bring up other users who have had the same frustration and who have expressed that on the Miiverse. And that can be tied in with every game, which is quite possibly one of the coolest things ever. At least in my humble opinion. So, alright, computer. Continuing on, you'll see this is the second stage of the game. and I'm just kind of wandering around. You can view the overworld using the overmap, and it will show you the various people who have had trouble with levels, or maybe have a tip for you on a specific level. Some people even do their achievements. First, we have one, I believe, here that's bragging about beating level 1 without taking damage. Woo, level 1. But that's beside the point. Doesn't really matter. Moving on to Zombie U. This is one of the most underrated titles of the Wii U launch. I can't believe the number of reviewers who have given this a terrible review. I just don't get it. The game it's a solid shooter, and it's going to... It's maybe not the most innovative game that I've ever played, but it's got some interesting features. For example, when you die, the character that you were playing dies. That character can never be played again. He doesn't revive himself. He ends up a zombie and wanders around the world. You start over as a completely new character. You lose all your stuff. But the thing about that, you get all your stuff back if you can find yourself in the world and kill your previous character. How cool is that? Now what I'm showing here, you can see what's going on the gamepad as well as the display.
That's a good sign.
It's not the most interesting video because this is right at the beginning, because I believe I had died or something. So I haven't gotten very far yet. But you'll get to see the kind of idea. You'll get to see a little bit of the gore. You can hear the sound effects coming off of the Wii U gamepad when I do certain things. The voice acting that comes through the Wii U gamepad and not through the system itself, which is kind of an interesting thing, because it's like he's communicating with the voice actor is actually communicating with you through a walkie-talkie or something, because the audio comes out of the speaker on the gamepad. It's actually really cool. There's also the multiplayer. I know a lot of people probably didn't even think there was multiplayer in this game. Most of the people I've talked to were surprised. I didn't know until I got the game. I sat here and played with a friend of mine and had a blast. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be that fun, because it's only 2 players. One person controls the gamepad, and that person gets to place zombies on the map, while the person on the main screen uses a Wiimote to survive. And it's a lot harder than it sounds. You do have limits on what you can place on the ground. As far as zombies go, you have different types of zombies, and you have to strategize. They've even got a capture the flag mode, which is kind of interesting. You have one type of zombie that can capture flags, while the player, the survivor, is trying to capture the same flags. But there's as many as 3 or 4 flags on the map at any given time, which is kind of interesting.
Give me a sec, I'll get those shutters up for you.
Ubisoft did an outstanding job on this game. It does not deserve the ratings that it got, and I highly recommend that if you own a Wii U, that you own this game, because you're going to enjoy it, and definitely check out the multiplayer when you get the chance.
Shit, you've got incoming. Check your radar.
As you just saw, it's pretty gory. I mean, you actually have to pull back so that you can hit these zombies in the head really hard. And as you saw, the mallet was actually very bloody, and pieces of the zombie's head had come apart. It was. Now, next up is going to be Assassin's Creed 3, that is. I know a lot of people were saying that Nintendo was getting some of these titles late, and yeah, technically, I guess the Assassin's Creed 3 title came out a little bit late for the Wii U, but that's only because the system didn't exist before Assassin's Creed 3 came out. And realistically, it was released on the same day. I picked up my copy on Tuesday, the same day that Assassin's Creed 3 was released for every other platform, and sat there and looked at it on my shelf wanting to play it. But anyway, as you can see here, the graphics are very good. They're at least on par with the Xbox and PS3 version. One of the biggest things you'll notice is the stability of the frame rate is that it never dips. It's always 60 frames per second, and I have yet to see it drop at all. Even when there's a lot of things going on the screen. I did notice that there is a little bit of an issue with my audio recording. I'm not sure if it's an issue with the Wii U or if it's an issue with my audio equipment not recording surround sound properly. There should be some voice acting going on in the background here, but it's not playing. I've run into this issue only one other time, but I think it's something to do with the recording software and not the actual Wii U. If you are into Assassin's Creed multiplayer, I will warn you ahead of time, because the Wii U does not have a huge installed base yet, you will be disappointed because there's not that many people online playing the game. Does that mean that this version is inferior to the other versions? No, it really doesn't, because you're looking at one of the highest quality versions, you're looking at one of the better performing versions, and it's a completely feature-complete game. You can play this one on the gamepad. The reason I'm not showing the gamepad here is that the gamepad shows exactly the same thing as what's going on the screen. So there's nothing special. The only difference is that you pull up the map on the gamepad whenever you pull up a map, which is pretty cool, admittedly. But it is nice to be able to play it while watching a football game, for example. You don't need to leave. You don't have to change the channel and turn off your game. You can continue playing and watch the football game. Or hell, just check your stats. Glance up from the game every so often. Pretty sweet. So, the next title that I'm going to show you is quite possibly the biggest disappointment for me as far as the Wii U launch goes. That title is Epic Mickey. It should be showing up here any second now on the video. This game, I haven't even really been able to play past the first level. I can't really forgive it for some of the things that it does. Very wrong on the Wii U. The design team made a lot of decisions that simply make no sense whatsoever. The biggest one you may have heard people complain about, you can't change the controls. You're stuck using the gamepad for this game, which would be fine if it was implemented right. But you're stuck using the gamepad and using the control configuration that they chose, which is kind of backwards from every other platform. So if you've even tried it on another platform, you're going to be confused immediately as soon as you pick up this version. The second thing, you can't change it to be the Wiimote if you want. Now this game worked really well on the original Wii, the first game. And it's unfortunate to say that you can't use the gamepad to do, you cannot use the Wiimote to paint the walls like you used to.
Once again
Just doesn't make any sense.
with one goal in
boggles
mind,
my mind.
to find and
The
retrieve
other
my
glaring
magic
issue,
brush.
and this one is just really, really, really bad. Whoever it is that developed this game, I forget who it is, shame on you for releasing this game in this state and still not having a patch. What is wrong with you people? A so-called next-generation game of the, I mean, even of the PlayStation and Xbox era, dropping below 20 frames per second is just wrong. It just goes to show how lazy you are when you decided to develop this game. That's the reason I haven't played beyond the first level. I can't get over the 15 frames per second. I'm not playing a Nintendo 64. I'm playing a system that's 3 times more powerful than a PS3 or an Xbox. That's ridiculous. And I already showed the audience here that other games that look 10 times better run at 60 frames per second and don't drop. What the heck? So do not buy this game until it's patched. If you hear something better, or if you hear about a patch that improves the frame rate or that allows you to change the controls, by all means, pick it up. It's a good game. Otherwise, from what I've played, I just can't get over the glaring issues, so I won't play it. I spent $60 on a game that I'm not going to play until it's patched. But it's now January, and there's still no patch. It's been a couple months now. I'm sure you can figure out where the memory leaks are, developers. So I leave it to you to get this game fixed so I can play it and do a proper review instead of sitting here blasting it for the issues that it has. I shouldn't even be having to do that. Not in this day and age. When you have games like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 that look 100 times better than your game, that run at 60 frames per second on lesser platforms. In fact, much lesser platforms. The Wii version of this game runs better than the Wii U version. Now, I don't know if you can see it at this point. As soon as I get past this little area here, we'll see where the frame rate just gets absolutely god-awful. And it saddens me to know that we have a developer that's this lazy or that was rushing or maybe perhaps it was the leadership of the company that developed this title that decided that they needed to push it out the door and have it there on day one. I'll tell you right now, from a customer standpoint, if you had delayed it so that you could get that frame rate rock solid, get things fixed, make sure the game was ready for release, I would not have complained at all if you pushed it back a few months. I know simultaneous release, and I get it, but the game wasn't ready. You know it wasn't ready, and that's just wrong. I feel cheated. I'll be honest. That being said, just don't pick up that copped-up version of the game. You can go with pretty much any other copy of the game or any other version, and you'll be much happier. So, enough of that. I think I've beat a dead horse into the ground pretty, well enough. So what I wanted to go ahead and move on to is the new upstart company I'm trying to start up. It's called AshiWolf Studios. You can find us at AshiWolfStudios.com. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that my fursuit looks a little weird. I have black sleeves instead of gray sleeves. You may have even caught in the background, I've got my full suit behind me, and you'll notice the difference. The reason for that is that I'm demoing one of my future products. This one is actually a prototype. I'm still working out some of the kinks with it because it's not quite perfect yet, but this is coming down the line. My products are going to be designed to help people who are interested in costuming, specifically this type of costuming, but don't want to have to put forth a ton of money. I mean, not everybody can afford a really fancy suit. I mean, My suit cost me well over $2,000. So doing this kind of costume is very, very expensive. But for those of you who can get your hands on a mask, my company will be providing fursuit parts such as hand paws, sleeves such as this. This is my furry sleeves tee. The basic idea behind this is that it's relatively inexpensive to purchase and high quality. Plus the sleeves will not fall down as they, because my product does something that a lot of other people's products don't. We've got hats. I've got ears that are both on hair clips and on headbands, as well as other t-shirts and a hoodie even coming down the line. All these products will be available before the end of 2013 with a goal to have everything available and my web store up and running by August of 2013. Until the web store gets up, I am open for commissions. You can just fill in a commission request form, shoot me an email, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can, let you know pricing information and what other kind of information I need from you. Every single product in my store will be 100% customizable. If you want a blue shirt with white sleeves or whatever, I can do it. You can follow me on Twitter at AshiWolf. You can also follow the AshiWolf Studios Facebook page. It's at www.facebook.com/AshiWolfStudios. As usual, if there's something you want to hear me talk about, whether it be a rant, video game review, or whatever, if you just want to chat, drop a comment in the comment section below. I do read all the comments, and I appreciate every one of you. I just wanted to say, before I go, thanks to all the subscribers. I've recently gained like 10 subscribers, and thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. I hope I won't disappoint you. And I'm doing this for you guys, so by all means, let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys next time.